Welcome back to the Semi Informed Football Podcast. So leagues are collapsing. Seems like managers are moving around and football is entering its an annual emotional farewell phase. Like a lot of people are kind of just finishing up. This was something that Matteo really wanted to talk about. But this week we're going to talk about a bunch of things. We're going to talk about the Prem. We're going to talk about the FA Cup fallout. We're going to talk about a lot of the sort of title races, relegation drama, and everything like that. Just insane coaching carousel. So the seasons aren't even done in Europe, right? And these coaches are all over the place. A little bit of Bundesliga madness, and I don't know. And then this was one that Matteo really wanted to look at, is that legends potentially saying goodbye to their clubs. So on the podcast today, we have Matteo, we have Mark. Guys, how's it going?
Pretty good.
Good, Mark. Okay, you know what? We're going to jump right into the Prem right off the bat. So, I know you specifically wanted to take a look at the FA Cup, which just happened. Hey, take it away.
Well, you know what? Going into the game, the FA Cup, I saw Chelsea, Man City, and I thought of it as a chance for Chelsea to save their season. They've had a horrible year ever since sacking Maresca, and there's been no really bright spots whatsoever. So I thought if something could be salvaged from the season, it would be this. And in the game, I must say, they disappointed me beyond measure. Chelsea never looked scoring to me. They were not threatening. Only 3 players on the squad looked like they were up for it, them being Reece James, Moises Caicedo, and maybe Cole Palmer. Apart from that, though, Man City dominated them entirely, and it was a pretty tame final. Even for Haaland didn't play too well. The main goal coming through a nice flick from Semenyo. But I thought it was a good snooze fest for the most part. But the main story here is, where do Chelsea go from here for me?
Yeah, it was boring as hell. Pretty stale. Especially coming after watching that whole PSG Bayern, that first leg when it was just nonstop attacking football. And then, final teams try and, take it really cautious. I thought this was beyond cautious on both sides. It was really boring. Nice goal by Semenyo, though. I give him tons of credit. And if you guys will indulge me, I'd just like to talk a bit about Semenyo on this. So
go for it.
Yeah. So Semenyo was actually rejected by many of the top academies. Arsenal, Spurs, others. And in fact, he almost quit football in 2017. Then he got his break at South Gloucestershire Academy.
Gloucester.
Whatever.
Yeah.
Scouted by Bristol. And then he played non-league ball first, all on his journey to the EPL. So here's a guy who's played in pretty much all leagues, Division 2, Division 1, and the Prem. Just a humble guy, strong work ethic. So I'm really happy for Semenyo.
Amazing. And one thing I wanted to point out, I was just actually taking a look at the table. So Man City now has the first and third top scorer in the Prem with Haaland and Semenyo. That's a lot of firepower for a team at the onset of the season, or even maybe at the midway point, even that they didn't even think that it was the same City as was before. Here they came sneaking up, kind of pushing on Arsenal, and almost actually kind of passing them. But hey, you know what? Let's talk about that next, Mark. Since you're on the topic already, so right now, is Arsenal wrapping it up with just a few games left in the season? Do they have this title, or do you see any kind of stumbles on the forefront? What's going to happen there?
So Arsenal has the next match against Burnley tomorrow, Monday. Burnley's in the relegation zone. They're already going down. Should be an easy win for Arsenal. City, on the other hand, their match this week is against Bournemouth, who have been one of the best teams in Europe over the last 2 months, I believe.
And they're fighting for a Champions League spot too.
Yeah, they're fighting for that Champions League spot. So it's going to be really tough. And after that, City end the season against Aston Villa. So it's not an easy game for them.
No, not at all.
They do have the easy road here. If at this point in time they blow it, this will have to be perhaps the greatest bottling of bottles.
Yeah. Yeah, that's one point. So you know what? Let's actually kind of take a look at you were talking about the top end of the table. Let's look at the bottom end of the table. So Matteo, I'm gonna throw this one out to you. Who looks like they're going down to the championship?
Well, as we have it, there are two teams that are fighting for the last spot to stay up in the Premier League. West Ham and Spurs. And going into this match week, I thought myself Spurs were probably the favorites to stay up, but West Ham needed to try and get some wins in the last two games if they were to have any chance. Today, West Ham played and they got embarrassed. Scored 3-1, not much fight to them. There were signs of potential, but I think West Ham, with one game now left to play and 2 points behind Spurs, West Ham are going to go down. And normally I have sympathy for these teams that go down, especially a long-standing Premier League squad like West Ham. But after such a poor season, after inconsistencies in the back, front, all these things, they kind of deserve it. And that performance today was beyond underwhelming for myself. So I think West Ham is going to go down, and Spurs, by the skin of their teeth, and deserve these magic, are going to stay up.
Yeah, I don't think Spurs deserve to stay up. I do think they will stay up, but if I'm not mistaken, if Spurs lose and West Ham wins, I think West Ham will stay up on goal differential.
No, West Ham, actually, they are 2 points behind Spurs right now, and their goal differential is 13 worse than Spurs. So they're going to need to get those points somewhere.
So they would need a win and a Spurs loss.
They need West Ham right now. They have one game left on 37 games. They need to win their next game versus Leeds.
Mhm.
Spurs have 2 games left, and they need to lose both.
Yeah.
So
Who
they're
do they
asking a
play,
lot.
Matteo? Who do they play?
Spurs are playing Chelsea and Everton. So 2 games that aren't really easy,
Yeah, they're not guarantees.
but get 1 point and you stay up, which I think they could do. But you never know.
Never know. Okay, you know what? Let's look at the second part of our podcast today. Let's talk about the coaching carousel, and I'm gonna throw this first one off to you, Mark. Xabi Alonso looks like it's finalized with Chelsea.
It is.
Like, does that anger you a little bit? Because again, the whole kind of bumbling with Arne Slot, and then not, is Xabi coming? Is he not coming? Then all of a sudden, you know what? He finalized with Chelsea. Like, it's at a like, how can you take a look at this? Is it glass half full, glass half empty, Mark?
All right. Let's start with the cons here. Obviously, he was a Liverpool legend. He coached Wirtz and Frimpong, brought the best out of them at Leverkusen. Would it have been great for him to come aboard? Yes. Now, on the flip side, and I think all fans sort of wanted that. If you're just a plain fan, you're a fan, you probably wanted Xabi Alonso. On the flip side, how much string is given to Arne Slot? Given Mo Salah's recent comments, and they weren't favorable, and he didn't name names, but it's clear it was Slot, I think it's almost a clearing out of the old guard. Let Salah go. Let's just start fresh. It will be a different, before even signing new players, it will be a different team next year regardless. We have Jeremy Jacquet. We have Leone. These center backs, okay, the futures of the club. That already is defensive reinforcements. I'm sure they'll get another forward. They'll probably strengthen the mid. But I really think when you're comparing clubs like Liverpool and Chelsea, how long will Xabi Alonso stay at that job? Because I can tell you in the last 11 years, Liverpool have employed 2 coaches. In that same time period, Chelsea have employed 10. So I don't know how well Xabi Alonso will fit into Chelsea. If we're just talking about a manager and a player, I think he's a good fit. But when you're talking about that ownership group, listen, Maresca was a great coach for that club, and look what happened. So I don't know. Also, going back to, the software that Ian Graham with the data analysis came up with, and Michael Edwards with the data science. I think if they're going to pick a coach, clearly Xabi Alonso wasn't at the top of their list with all these data metrics for the kind of players they have. Also, I know that Xabi wanted a lot more control with transfers and such. And, I think at Liverpool, we want a coach who can coach. And with their proprietary software and data metrics, let them take care of the transfers and the fits. So, am I looking at it at such a loss? Not really, because I know they'll find the right guy. But I do still think they're going to give Slot some more time.
Perfect. You know what? Honestly, staying on the Prem, might as well maybe a word or two on this one. Michael Carrick in Manchester United. So it looks like he's doubling down. He's going to stick around. It looks like I think it was the players that actually got behind him and just making this happen. Like, is this a good story for Manchester United, or is it something that we're going to see kind of the wheels fall off afterwards?
Well, given what he's done, I don't see how you couldn't give him the job.
Yeah.
Right? I still don't know how well he is tactically. I think the players were more disenfranchised with Amarim's attitude and strictness, so that man management sort of part. And I mean, again, listen, this is a team full of quality players. You got rid of that Amarim guy, and all of a sudden, did Carrick really have something to do with beating City and Arsenal in the first two matches? I don't think so. I think it was the players feeling a bit more freedom. That's what I think.
Yeah. Perfect. You know what? Let's leave the Prem for a little bit. And I know Matteo has a lot to say about this one, but let's talk about the special one. The special one with Benfica this year, 34 matches, 23 wins, 11 draws, still not finishing in first place. But again, no losses. And it looks like, and I don't know, has this been finalized, Matteo? Going to Real Madrid just to, I guess, douse that tire fire in Madrid.
It's not finalized, first and foremost, but it's like, we know it's the world's worst kept secret. It's going to happen.
Yeah.
In regards to how they're going to line up next season, man, okay, look, we know Mourinho has had a history of being an iconic coach. We understand that. Even this past season, going invincible, albeit coming third in the league, it's an impressive feat. But will he be able to help out this chaotic Madrid dressing room with the dictator Mbappé, the boxing matches in the change rooms? Look, I think this is adding more gasoline to the fire, if anything. Because if one thing's for certain, Mourinho is going to give you headlines, stories, and drama.
But I think that's we talked about that, and I think that's really what they need. They need somebody to focus a little bit more on Mourinho's, on the special one, not on the players. Florentino Perez just sticking his nose where it doesn't belong. And again, I really do think that there's one point where it's Xabi Alonso, he actually derailed his decision to kind of sit Vinny Jr. At one point. And I just feel like you can't really have all those people kind of sticking their nose in the business. And I really do think Mourinho is something that's going to draw a little bit more attention, kind of like as a magnet, sucking a lot of the news and everything like that towards him. And I think he does have the gravitas to actually have people listen to him. Whether it works out like that, I do think, again, I've been saying this for a year, is that I love Mbappe, love Vinicius Jr. I just don't think that they can coexist on the same team. But you know what? Well, let's see what happens. Let's see. Honestly, I'm looking forward to it. If anything, it's like he came to Benfica. He really did a great job there. Again, not with an insane amount of talent. I don't think they were talented in the Portuguese league, but again, got some really great results. And they're gonna have Europe next year too. So I don't know. I really like that one. Mark, do you have anything to say about Mourinho?
I think he will make a difference. I think the bigger question is, what does Madrid do with Mbappe?
That's a good one, yeah.
I mean, they already asked Vinny's reps, what do you feel if Mourinho were to come over? Vinny's reps said that they're fine. Just to give some context, I guess people assumed there was bad blood between Mourinho and Vinny after that racist incident with, what's his name? Pastriani from Benfica.
Yeah, right. In the Champions League.
Yeah, and Mourinho made some comment to the effect of, I don't know, Vinny draws attention wherever he goes.
Yeah.
So, but they're fine with Mourinho. I think they respect that he's won so much. And I think I've talked about this before. Zidane isn't a coach. He's a legend, and that's what made Ronaldo respect him and fall in line and get everyone else to fall in line in the dressing room. In this case here, I think Vinny would fall in line and listen to what Mourinho has to say. I don't think Mbappe would be the one to fall in line.
Okay.
And I think that's more the problem.
Yeah. No, that's quite interesting. I want to kind of finalize this whole coaching carousel where there wouldn't be a move. And I actually read this on social media, and I really, really like this. So Joachim Low of the German national team fame, they approached him again with all this stuff happening. Maybe it was at Madrid where they actually asked them to say, would you consider coming back into a managerial position or coaching a team? And he goes, listen, I've been out of the game for quite a bit. Like, again, you're never really out of the game. I've seen him attending games in the stadiums and everything like that. But he said is that this is a time for younger coaches with newer ideas to come in and make a splash, and not for somebody for me. Like, I don't think I would bring anything new to the game. And you know what? I have to really give him credit for that one as well, because I think he's right. He's right with that. Like, I think that, you know what? Like, give it to the coaches like the Xabi Alonso. Give it to the coaches that really want to bring the new ideas or challenge things, right? So, I really respected that. And again, we did great things with the German national team. With that said, I think this is a good part. Yeah, what was that?
Well, the one rumor also is that if Slot is gone, that Jurgen Klopp would be coming back.
Yeah.
Okay, let's not live on La La Land here. I don't believe it's gonna happen. But look, honestly, I think everyone in their right mind would love that. But will it happen? That's the main question.
Mark, maybe you know this better than anybody, but what I found is that I found a lack of any kind of commentary from Jurgen Klopp about what's happening in Liverpool. Sure, you're watching a lot more and is paying a little bit more attention to it right here, but I didn't see him. Did he actually endorse Arne Slot when they signed him, or has he? Yeah, he did. Huh? Yeah.
He
okay.
did. And listen, I think at the time, Klopp had been with the group for a while. After so much, towards the end of the season, Salah and Klopp got into it. It was pretty aggressive on the touchline there, right? But there's a couple of things I think why Klopp coming back is a possibility. Number one, Salah leaving, believe it or not. Number two, a bunch of new young guys on this team. And I think Klopp, when he took over the team, was a bunch of young guys too.
Yeah.
And the third, and I think the most important thing for me is that if Pep decides to leave, and I think that's what Klopp might be waiting for, if Pep leaves, then I can most definitely see Klopp returning.
Yeah. You know what? If anything, what he said about
competition, really.
Yeah. So no. So what I was going to finalize that is that, Mark, I remember Klopp quoting is that he will never coach another team in the Prem if it wasn't Liverpool. So again, does that open the door? Is it like sort of impending there? I don't know. Loved him as a coach. I loved the fire he brought. But again, is this something that's better left well enough alone, right? And just say, you know what, just right off the sunset, you did a phenomenal job over the seasons you were here. Like, it doesn't really need to go any further. Anyways, okay, so let's kind of actually...
Just to be clear, Mark, I'm not saying that he would go to Man City.
Yes.
I'm saying if Pep leaving, he'd come back to Liverpool because Pep was his only competition.
No, that's what I'm saying is that I think, if anything, just leave well enough alone. Like I said, is that don't come back to Liverpool. Let them find their own way. Because I don't know, like even then, like, again, there's a lot of great pieces there, a lot of young pieces, and you did mention at the start of the show what Liverpool has. But I'm like, is it a longer plan that he's willing to put? Right? Again, he's not as young as he's not as young as he was 15 years ago, right? Where he was kind of going here wide-eyed optimist, right? Is it something where you could say, you know what, I see like a 4 or 5 year plan. Do I really want to see that out?
I always got the sense when he left and he said that he wouldn't coach any other team, I always got the sense that he wanted to come back for a second stint. Just when? I don't know.
Yeah, you know what? That's interpretation. The way I look at it is that he would just kind of dispel any rumors of coming back to the Prem and coaching somewhere else, I don't know. That's the way I look at it. Anyways, come on, let's leave this topic right here. And I know this one was near and dear to Matteo's heart, but bunch of players in all the leagues kind of farewell tour, right? So just kind of bidding farewells, just the last few games in the club season. I don't know. You know what, Matteo, I'm going to take this one off to you. Like, what are the ones that you found notable of just saying, hey, you know what? I think it's done, and we've had a time at this club.
Well, I'm gonna name 3 that I personally saw this weekend and was quite drawn towards. First and foremost, Robert Lewandowski, and he's leaving the club now. He's confirmed to himself. He's leaving Barcelona after 4 seasons. And he made it very, very clear, as we all should know, he joined during Barcelona's one of the lowest periods in their entire history. Going trophyless for a number of seasons, going in the Europa League, getting knocked out of Europa League, having no real plan, direction. It was a shambles. No money, yet he came. And then over the span of 4 years, he's left them in the spot they are now, where they are competing for every title in Europe. So I think as any lover of football, especially Barcelona fans, we must thank him for his 4 years, how he left during basically not the prime of his career, but near enough.
Yeah.
And took on this project himself. I have nothing but respect for him. And it's clear that the club means a lot to him. He brought his kids out, his family. They were in tears, staying on the pitch for hours. But nothing but nice things to say about him.
So where's he going?
Secondly, I have the ex-Barca player, Antoine Griezmann. He's also leaving Atletico, and he himself had a tremendous farewell. It was sad to see because he was there for the past 10 years, barring his 2-year stint at Barcelona, but still, he actually referred to that as the biggest mistake of his career.
Yeah.
And he did everything he could to get back to Atletico, which even myself as a Barca fan, I'm not too offended by, because that was his home Atletico. And seeing them without him next season, we can all say we'll be a little bit off. It'll feel different. So that was a tough watch as well. But he did say, and it was revealed, Simeone is not leaving with him. He's going to stay for at least an extra year, which I guess is not too much of a shock. And it would be a drastic change if both of them left at the same time. The third player I'm going to cover briefly is Casemiro. I'm not a Real Madrid fan whatsoever, but I can admit when a player has been class. During this past season at Man U, Casemiro has been really, really good. I'd say even world class at some points. He's leaving the squad where they are now. Again, he joined at a low point, and Michael Carrick's magic has brought them to third place, competing for most things, looking like a really strong team. I think as a football fan, let alone Barca fan, you have to recognize when a historic name is going to go away, and wherever he may go, he left a legacy behind in Manchester for sure.
Where do you think he's going?
I honestly see him going probably either Saudi Arabia, as most guys do, to get the payday, or back to Brazil. I don't see anywhere else in Europe for him.
Yeah, amazing. So I'm going to throw one out there. I guess we don't have to talk too much further about this. Kieran Trippier at Newcastle United. So again, very, very solid. I really, really always enjoyed him as a player. Again, even if his time in La Liga. But Mark, I'm going to throw this one off at you. So Man City looks like it's going to drop a few players. Both Bernardo Silva and John Stones. Pretty key figures in that lineup. What impact have they had? And are they easy to replace, Mark?
Well, John Stones has been fading slowly, so he was on the bench for the FA Cup. I guess more as an honorary tribute to him. I don't even think he would have qualified for the bench personally. So he's had a storied career. For him, I'd see, off into the sunset and retirement. Bernardo Silva, very curious where he's going to end up. Maybe he'll go to Italy. Bernardo Silva has been fantastic. Even in the FA Cup, he was probably one of the bright stars. He definitely was part of that team of a generation there, whatever it was, 8-9 years, I think. But obviously world class. And yeah, I think he's going to be one to watch too, along with Bruno Fernandes and Vitinha and others in the World Cup.
Yeah, well said. You know what? I'm just going to wrap that one up right now with saying Bundesliga, both Rafael Guerreiro, longtime Dortmund player, but Bayern right now, and also Leon Goretzka, which is very, very solid in the mid for both Bayern and the German national team, right? So both looking to kind of farewell on their team itself. So with that said, I think we're going to be wrapping things up. So thank you so much, everybody, for listening to us. We had a really great conversation today. So again, please follow us on Spotify and Apple. Send us off to anybody that you think would enjoy some footy speak. With that said, the season might be ending, but the chaos really isn't. And for that, that's Marco, Matteo, and Mark keeping you
semi-informed.